What I hate about Chappell Roan is that she makes it painfully clear that no one, and I mean no one, has suffered like she has. From every schedule snafu to every cancellation due to better opportunities, even to her Joan Crawford behavior without the track record, leaves one hard pressed to believe in anything not written in the Gospel of Chappell. The funny thing is, when you actually start listening to her and watching her actions, you start to wonder if the rise and fall of a Midwestern princess was a self fulfilling prophecy. Her music, fine. But as a gay man, I don't understand why she's treated like a gay icon. I believe there is a line between acceptance and marketing, between authenticity and tokenism. With Chappell, that line gets really blurry. She is queer, I'm not trying to deny that, and I'm not here for that. But when sexuality becomes the brand itself, you start to wonder how much of it's real and how much of it's just clever packaging. We've heard this song before, every June at Target. I'd also like to add that many of the same people praising Chappell are the same ones that clown on people like Frankie Grande for being too flamboyant. That's not progress, that's a double standard. It's less about representation and more about who's trendy to fetishize this week. But before this turns into a what I hate about the gay community video, let me get back to Chappell. I think many of us are aware of her statements during the US 2024 presidential election, in which she said many, at the minimum, problematic statements, and I would love to comment on a few of them. So, my understanding is the initial backlash she faced was because she didn't want to endorse a political candidate, and one of her responses was, quote, actions speak louder than words, and actions speak louder than an endorsement, end quote. First of all, what actions did she make aside from saying trans people are people too? Like, it's cool that she said that, but that shouldn't need to be something that needs to be said, especially considering that her audience is mainly queer people or queer accepting people at the very least. Um, Secondly, while I know many people are asking her to make an endorsement, I don't think anyone should be forced to make one. Because while, yes, as a celebrity, you do have a platform, and I will go into this later, but you are also still a person that is a citizen. And I strongly believe that you should not be able to coerce or persuade or whatever, any of those reasons or anything else, someone into voting for a specific candidate or revealing to you who they voted for. However, and this is a big however, I also do believe that if you choose that stance, you don't get to comment here and there and get upset when people are upset with you. Unfortunate or not, that is a part of communication with others, the chance of disagreement. And if you don't want to play politics, that's fine. No one's asking you to. But don't toss the first stone and then act shocked when people throw opinions back. It's also a bit ironic that she complains so much about politics, yet is an extremely privileged individual. Like, most of the things that she complains about are never going to affect her. And yes, I understand that people will be like, oh, well, she's using her platform to benefit those that aren't as privileged as she is. Again, in what way, shape, or form, aside from saying trans people are people too? She likes to put her toe in and get involved just so she can say that she was involved. And then anytime that there's any backlash, she doesn't want to be a part of it. I don't understand, like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Um, I'm not trying to say that privilege determines the authenticity of good deeds or actions, but I think it plays a big role in it. Need I mention the Paris Hilton Foundation or the countless other quote unquote charities that are essentially GoFundMe bank accounts for celebrities? But that's neither here nor there. The other hot water issue relating to politics was her quote, both sides are bad comment, which, in all honesty, is a lot worse than the previous one, especially seeing how things played out both in the result of the election and the last 8 or so months. It goes back to earlier where you can't have your cake and eat it too, especially when you make public statements about false equivalences, when, in all honesty, I'm sorry, but you most likely don't understand what you're talking about. And I don't say that to discredit or diminish what she feels or thinks, but did any of us really think either candidate would solve the Israel Palestine crisis overnight? Any candidate, not her, not Kamala, not Trump. I don't think any of them would be able to. I don't think anyone can do that. I mean, it's similar to the Reagan Jimmy Carter thing. It's just not something that someone can handle and fix for all parties to be happy overnight. And putting the blame on one person on why they are just as bad as someone who is factually a lot worse is strange. I know that's a dead horse, but still, I think it's worth mentioning because when you want to have this platform and you act I don't know if ungrateful is the right word, but act entitled and privileged from your position. I think that you do, you either have an obligation to participate in the things that you claim to be participating in, like politics and social activism, or you shut your damn trap, which she likes to, again, have her cake and eat it too. And this is what I'm saying. I'm like, fine, do that if you want, but don't be surprised when people give you backlash. Just like Wendy Williams, who doesn't get backlash? No one. It's unrealistic for anyone to be able to do that about the Israel-Palestine crisis. And making such blanket statements on what you think is ideal when you don't have any nuance, something that is required for true political commentary, is sad from someone who claims they're a progressive individual. And that's the other big part, is that there is no nuance. It's one side's bad, one side's good. It's literally not politics whatsoever. The whole point of politics and disagreement is compromise. And that, from my point of view, was not something that she was putting forward when giving her political commentary. But again, neither here nor there. But I went on to say that it feels like she feels the need to be a hero, yet no one is asking her or wants her to be. But it has this "why does everything fall to me" martyr attitude when no one is relying on her for grandiose statements. As much as she might want to be, she is not Jesus. A while back, Chappell had a little bit of a stint on a damning episode of Call Her Daddy, in which she said multiple very troubling things, especially with the type of person she likes to claim that she is. And the following are all quotes, as I can't play the excerpt or the clip or anything. But Chappell said, quote, "I do not think, like, I'm actually not proud of this. Ex-boyfriend is at the club. I'm at the club. I see him hitting on this girl, and I'm like, why the fuck is he doing this in front of me? This is evil. Like, we're both single at this point, so whatever." He goes to the bathroom. I go up to his girl, and I'm like, "I think you are so pretty." And then I steal her. And then at the end of the night, we were just making out, and he's just standing there. That's weaponizing gay. Actually. And then she takes a bite of her chip while smirking. That's called being evil. And that's like, I was so fucked up. I was on multiple drugs. So was that girl. I don't even know what he's on. Like, and that girl, like, her name was something crazy. It was like Princely or something like that. God, it was crazy. The interviewer asks her, were you even into her? And she says, yeah, she was like so pretty. And then, then I threw up outside and I was like, actually, this is so dumb. What am I doing? The interviewer asks, did you wake up the next morning with like the scaries, or were you just like, victory? And then Chappell said, I was just like, yeah, shame on you. You weaponize gay. And that was the end of that segment. First of all, what the ever living fuck? If I had done that, I would take that to my grave. The fact that she said all of this, whether or not she had guilt the next day, then chose to take a bite of a chip with a smirk, that's evil. At least more evil than what she did. Saying things like, I can't believe he did this in front of me. Even though you guys have been broken up and you were both in a public area, maybe I'm the crazy one. Do any of you guys text your exes and tell them to stay away from the club you go to because they aren't allowed? Like the entitlement. And what's even worse is that before rewatching this clip for the video, I thought that she said that she kissed a girl, not his fucking date. Like, that is absolutely batshit insane to complain about him going to a public area and then steal his date. The cherry on top was her saying that he was evil for what he did, then calling herself evil. Like, she clearly has a twisted idea of evil, but I think we already knew that from the both sides are bad statement. Then to try and brush it off with, oh, well, he was on drugs. Like, it's a cute little, or, oh, we were on drugs. Like, it's a cute little thing is pretty gross. And the part of just blowing off that girl in the parking lot, like, I'm assuming you were both consenting adults, but that's pretty fucked up to use someone because you're butthurt about something that's weird to be butthurt about. Grow the fuck up. This is not cute. This is not demure. Also, why would you mention her name? Like, what did that have to do with anything in the story? At all. Whatsoever. I don't know. I think it's one thing to do this and have actual remorse, and another thing to do it, acknowledge that it was evil, then go on a podcast and tell the world about it, bragging along with the girl you made an accomplice to your vendetta. Sad, Chappell. Sad. Chappell has, in multiple instances, complained about how difficult her life is, from canceling concerts due to last-minute mental health issues to being frustrated with not being able to be in public without being photographed, or people coming up to her to say hello. My, oh my, what a hard life. I'll talk about all that in a minute, but I do want to start with the creme de la creme that was her other comment from the same Call Her Daddy podcast from earlier. She starts off by saying, how can these girls tour, write, perform, interview, sleep, eat and fucking work out and like how can they do all that and lead a team and be a boss and pay people and be like fucking so politically educated? It's exhausting. It's also impossible. Also, why the fuck are you looking to me for some political answer? You think that I have a fucking answer? Like, I am a pop star. I wish I had the answers. I wish the president was a pop star, but she's not. There is so much that I could go into this because this is like the most tone deaf, privileged statement that someone in her position could make. Like, I would rather see the celebrities singing Imagine at the beginning, like they did at the beginning of COVID, than hear her say shit like this. It doesn't make any sense to me why people herald her as this gay icon when, in my opinion, she is like the physical embodiment of a Rachel Berry. Maybe even worse. I mean, it's so dramatic. It's so much, he said, she said bullshit. It's so much like fetishization of the gay community, and I'll get into that in a second. But what I said in response to that was, first of all, you are not politically educated, and I think we covered that enough. So to make a statement complaining about your life being so difficult, then turning it into somewhat of a self-brag with the following, it's exhausting, is crazy to me. Like, it's so hard being me. Okay, girl. I also think the overlying thing with that statement is the fact that if you don't like that lifestyle, then leave. I know that sounds rough, but aside from her privileged life before music, she is now of the 1%. And without othering her, I think that's important to keep in mind. I'm sure many people, myself included, would love to be in her position, being able to pursue their passion for music while also being able to be a voice in social justice. I know tons of people that would want to do this and tons of people that are doing this, but to be in this position and say that you want to do all these things but not do any of them at all is weird to me. The issue starts when you start using your social activism, which in her case is debatable, as a prop or a crutch or even a mask for who or what you actually are. This is bigger than just Chappell too, and it's more than just queer baiting or something, applying to one group. It affects all of the music industry and all other industries as well. Capitalizing on minorities from a privileged position is gross behavior, and seeing nothing wrong with it, and in fact doubling down, is even worse. Obviously, the title of this video is a joke and an over-exaggeration, but I think the question is constantly begged nowadays with artists like Chappell and Sabrina. Why? Like, why do you want to be in the music industry? Because aside from you being able to make music with your, surface level lyrics and your, rinse and repeat pop beats, I don't see any passion, and I don't see any reason that they enjoy being in the music industry aside from being the center of attention. Like, especially in interviews. That is what has formed my opinion about all these. Because yeah, their music's okay. It's okay. It's whatever. But watching them talk in interviews and stuff is mind-opening. Like, the way that they perceive themselves and how they perceive the negativity that they get from their fans and whatnot is kind of crazy. Because they are so, like, they either live in their own worlds or surround themselves with yes men or something like that, because there's no way that anyone that is conscientious of their own actions could be able to live the lives that they do, acting the way that they do, without thinking that there's something wrong. Like, you can't go through life thinking that everybody else is the problem, right? Because then you probably are. But this leads to really listening to the lyrics of their songs. At points, I can't tell if a song is satirical or an act for that number, or actually what they are thinking. If it's the latter, I seriously question not only their judgment, but also their audience's judgment, as how can one listen to such self-absorbed, narcissistic music and think that they are worthy of praise? That will most likely be another video, as I could talk for hours about that, but I would like to comment on a few of her songs, starting with Pink Pony Club. Before I start, I need to preface that any debate on the productions of anyone labeled a queer artist is usually shut down quickly by claims of homophobia. I also acknowledge that LGBT people can be homophobic. However, I hope that discussion around this can remain respectful and viewed through a nuanced lens. You can disagree with one thing without being a bigot. With all of that being said, I think that Pink Pony Club is one of the most homophobic songs ever I have ever heard. Like I said earlier, there is a line between acceptance and then when you cross the line into pure marketing and fetishization. I know many love that song, and I'll admit it is catchy, but good God, let's just use the most gay stereotypes ever, throw a basic baby's first pop song beat over it, and call it a hard earned victory for the queer community. I'm sorry, but I don't like being treated as a purse dog accessory, and I don't understand why people do. To each their own, I guess. Then the next song I focused on was Good Luck Babe. I think, and it's sad because this is, if I had to pick a Chappell song that I do enjoy, it would be Good Luck Babe because it's catchy, it's nice, and you could sing along to it. But the lyrics, oh my God, actually sitting down and reading the lyrics are insane, especially after listening to that Call Her Daddy interview with her weaponizing gay. The whole song is about her wanting more with a girl that just wants to be casual and is dating a guy. Then, when the bridge comes, she is aggressive in her homosexuality towards this theoretical individual. Quote, when you wake up next to him in the middle of the night with your head in your hands, you're nothing more than his wife. And when you think about me all of those years ago, you're standing face to face with I told you so. I hate to say I told you so. I hate to say, but I told you so. Now, I don't know if that was about jealousy or envy or what, but after that interview of stealing someone else's date because of your petty bullshit, it's definitely a lot more red flaggy. Then saying things like this individual needs substances to assuage their personal guilt for not picking you is insane. Like, shoot another shot, try to stop the feeling. I understand, like, as a songwriter, I understand, using emotional language and wording for the purpose of a song. But that's why I said that thing earlier of like, I don't know if these are stories or caricatures or if these are actual, situations that they found themselves in their lives. Because you can listen to songs like, what's that song? Pulled out a ring and said, marry me, Juliet. Like that one. That one's a story song and you can follow along. But it's not like the most narcissistic bullshit. It's a bit narcissistic, but it's also a cute love story. It's not like straight up stalker syndrome where you're fucking obsessing over someone who's clearly not interested in you and then you shame them in a song for the national radio. Like, first of all, what did you think you're going to accomplish with that song? Like, a lot of the music now that's released nowadays, I'm like, wow, I would really hate to be the person that this song was written about. Speaking of that interview with Sabrina Carpenter recently, that was like they said something. They're like, any thoughts on why you write about all these guys? And she said something that my jaw dropped. She was like, they should be not privileged. I don't know if she said privileged, but she said something along the lines of, not verbatim, but she said they should be honored to have a song written about them. And I'm like, not when you're fucking disparaging their entire fucking character. I'm like, we also only have one side of these songs. Like, I'd like to have the person that Chappell did all this stuff to write a song explaining her point of view. Because with people like this, that's why I brought up the Rachel Berry stuff. I'm like, I would not be surprised if Chappell sent someone to an active crack house at some point. I mean, obviously that's a joke, but it's that type of personality where you are so self-absorbed that you don't care about any other person's like wants or needs. And I'm not saying they're selfish, but like I think you can be self-absorbed and not selfish. I don't think either is good though. And I think it's interesting trying to claim yourself as a gay icon when a lot of your songs are not the most positive. At least me personally, being a member of the gay community, as an openly gay man, I do not like associating with these songs. I think that they're toxic, and I think that they, like Pink Pony Club isn't toxic. It's more just fetishizing the gay community, whereas Good Luck Babe is toxic. And yeah, I mean, I could just go on and on. But I think that the bigger picture is, with everything being said and done, I think that she will be the lonely one. I think it's strange and problematic that many people support her after all the things that she's done. I'm not trying to say that she's a terrible, no good person, but I mean, she herself even said that she was evil, so take that as you will. As a non-celebrity with absolutely no experience of being a celebrity, I think that she's acting like a petulant child. Keep in mind that this lady is almost 30 years old. She's 27. This kind of behavior is crazy for someone that age to still think is okay. Even Lindsay Lohan acknowledged some of her shit from when she was younger, albeit an unpaid vacation bill. So what's Chappell's excuse? I think that she could be a great advocate for the LGBT community and other communities if she didn't try so hard to make it about herself in the process. Good deeds don't count if you tell the world about them is a statement reflective of a lot of her actions, or lack thereof. No one is asking you to be a hero, and no one is asking you to. So please stop acting like you have the burden of being one. I know most of this sounds like a jaded peasant, but I'm a strong believer that no status should shield you from criticism, especially if the criticism is someone mostly commenting on statements you have made. What I would pay is to see a drama off between Rachel Berry and Chappell Roan, but I think both would send each other to a crack house, a la the Pina Colada song. Do I truly hate Chappell? No, that takes too much energy, and she's not worth it. But do I enjoy being able to make commentary on such silly statements that a grown-ass adult makes regularly? You bet your sweet bippy!